Hello and welcome to another episode of Concerned Normal's Game On. You're listening to The Rebel, and this week we're going to go over the zombie genre of games. What brought this on was basically I found a featured mod on Steam the other day. I don't know why it was featured this late in the game, especially since it was released October 31st, 2011. It was called No More Room in Hell, and it's a very realistic game in the aspect that you only carry so many weapons, your weapons are limited, your ammo is limited, and you pretty much die 5 minutes into the game, no matter what your tactics are. I found this out as basically trying to play a bunch of levels solo, and although I managed to get a bunch of weapons and a bunch of ammo, again, sort of swapping between them because of the fact that you can't really carry more than 2 or 3 guns at a time, I was able to take out a bunch of zombies, but not enough to make any difference. And then, of course, when you're out of ammo, you switch to a hand weapon, and well, after about 2 or 3 strikes, your stamina is so low that you have to pause for a few minutes before you can strike again. Now, I don't agree with that aspect of it, in the fact that basically in real life, if it's a flight or fight situation, your adrenaline's pumping so hard that you can keep swinging till the day's end. So after 3 strikes with a machete and you're tired, I really don't believe that very well. Another game that has that particular feature is, of course, the Dead Island series that has the stamina as well, that after a few strikes you're a little bit tired, but it lasts a little bit longer than No More Room in Hell. So once again, like I said, it's a featured mod. I don't know why it's featured. It's not really that great of a mod in the fact that it's just too realistic and there's absolutely no playability to it. Like, I mean, playing solo, you die within 5 minutes because you can't hit these zombies anymore. They just come in, they attack you, and then you become one of them. So it basically struck me as to, like, what other zombie games are there out there that might be playable. And I remembered back to my Call of Duty days and my Call of Duty Spec Ops game. It had a zombie mode type of thing that you could play. So it had a bunch of levels that you could play, and it's a little bit easier to excuse me. I have a cold coming on. You're able to buy weapons and reload weapons by the points you get by killing zombies. So although it's less realistic that you'd make money off of killing zombies and be able to buy guns off of chalk outlines on the wall, it was a pretty cool game to play. And it even had an arcade type mode where it's a top-down view that you're able to run around and shoot zombies that way and get pretty far. So playability wise, the Call of Duty Spec Ops mod or zombie mode was quite playable. Definitely not realistic, but quite playable. And then you get into the Left 4 Dead series, and this was a little bit realistic in the fact that, of course, you'd find ammo caches where people would basically store all their weapons and ammo in a spot, whether it became zombies or not at the time. But there would be these sort of caches all over the place where people would hide out and do things. So, excuse me again. The realism of that is a little bit better. Of course, you can only carry one major weapon, one secondary weapon, which is usually your pistol or an axe or something, and then of course your one spot for grenades. So it's realistic in the fact that you can only hold so many weapons. Excuse me again. So its realism fact was a little bit better. So the Left 4 Dead series again is a pretty good genre of game to play for the not a good genre, but a very good zombie genre game to play that has some realism and is definitely very playable. Solo as well, because of the fact you have your teammates with you, so it's pretty good to play. And the last series that I want to cover, of course, is the Dead Island series, the latest one called Riptide, which is what I'm demoing today. It's a very, very realistic game where you're basically tossed up on shore. Well, after the video that I have is on the boat, but after you're on the boat, you're tossed up on shore, and it's very, very hard to find weapons or ammo or anything like that. You're basically picking up scrap knives, and one of the first quests you get a nail gun, and later on you get yourself a flare gun, and these are the weapons you use. Of course, ammo of course is a little bit limited as well, but they're usually in the little towns and places that you find other people at. So again, this is a little bit more realistic. You don't have any teammates playing with you when you play solo, so you're on your own. But you do run into these little villages where they're able to stock you with ammo and buy some things from them. You can also modify your weapons, which I thought was really cool. So, as far as the zombie genre goes, the Half-Life 2 mod that I came across, the No More Room in Hell, it's probably one of the worst zombie genre games I've played because of the fact that it's just way too much on the realism side and not enough on the playability side. Whereas every one of the other games that I mentioned, from the Call of Duty zombie mode through Left 4 Dead and through the Dead Island series, these are all very playable games with different levels of reality attached to it, but they're all definitely more playable than the Half-Life 2 mod. And of course, you gotta look at the graphics as well. Coming out in 2011, 2 years in graphics-wise on computers looks 8-bit to me. So, of course, the graphics aren't as great as the newer games. So anyways, that's it for this week's episode. I'm sorry I missed last week. I didn't have internet back then due to a billing issue with my provider. But I'm now back on top, or back online. And I hope next week I'll be able to get another video out with a few more games that I end up picking up along the way. So thank you very much for watching Game On once again. My name is The Revel, and game on!